All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining this session today. My name is Marc Bautista. I am a Senior Search Engine Marketing Manager at PMG. And today we're going to be talking about how you can become more efficient through automation and how you can apply it to your PPC accounts. So let's go ahead and dive in. And I'll just give you a quick overview about what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about the types of automation and how I like to bucket them. I'm going to give you two things that you can take home with you and implement on your accounts today. And then finally, we're just going to close with automated bidding and why you need to be opted into that and how it can increase not just revenue for your clients or your company, but if you work at an agency, it can also increase your profits as well. So let's go ahead and dive into that first section, which is types of automation. Okay, so to start off, I like to bucket automation into two different categories. And really, I like to say category one is going to be what's something that can help me save time. And category two is going to be what's going to increase efficiency or performance on my accounts. So as we look at saving time, I always like to prep it up like this. Do you do a task that takes maybe 1 hour a day to complete? Well, what happens if you were able to break that task down and it only takes you 30 minutes a day? Well, you just saved half the time it took you. And while 30 minutes might not seem like much of a time saved, that's actually 2.5 hours a week. And when you annualize 2.5 hours a week, that's 105 hours saved annually. And that sounds great. That's a really big number. And that can be a lot of time put back into your accounts to do more strategic things. But let's take it a step further and let's think about automation, not just for yourself, but for your teams. When we're talking about 105 hours per person, if you have a team of 10, that can be over 1,000 hours of work saved just by one simple form of automation and applying that to your account. So the first section is just going to be, hey, how can we save time? How can we get more time back so that we can be focused on a few other things besides just pulling reports, for instance? And then over on the right side, we're going to talk about increasing efficiency. So, there's a few different things when we talk about automation and increasing efficiency in your accounts. The top one here, we'll get more in depth about this later, is going to be automated bidding. So there's a few different solutions out there. You can do something like TROAS or TCPA, which are Google's automated bidding solutions. You can use things like AdWords rules to boost modifiers up and down. Or maybe you have some in-house tech and you have some automated bidding solutions through there. Either way, automated bidding is a great way to increase efficiency on your accounts. And I'll go into more detail about that later. The second is going to be, negative keyword mining. Negative keyword mining is something that is a very, very good optimization to have in place in your accounts. It's a good way to make sure that your keywords are matching to relevant queries and you're not just spending money on something that's not converting or leading to that desired action that you want it to take. So how do we automate negative keyword mining? Well, what if you can create a report that just sends to you with already having those filters applied to say, hey, this search query had over $50 in cost, but it didn't lead to a conversion. Send that to me in an email every single Monday, and I want to see it then. That's a great way on how you can, one, increase efficiency and save some time. And then lastly, alerts. So oftentimes as search engine marketers, and depending on the accounts that you're running or the client that you're servicing, maybe you have 20 different accounts and clients that you're running PPC campaigns for. Well, what if you could set an alerts that just flag or signal to you, such as in a Slack message, when something's going really well, so you can increase investment in that area, but also have something that's the inverse of that and flag when something's going really bad, so you can actually pull down investment from that or make some other optimizations on those specific campaigns. Either way, alerts are a great way to think about automation and just identifying different areas for you to increase efficiency in your account. And really with this, I know that I put this in two buckets. And you're probably thinking, well, which one of those is the best? And I would think that something that does both is going to be the best. And you'll find that automation is going to do that for you. It's going to save you time, and it's also going to increase efficiency on your accounts. So with that, those are the two types of buckets that I like to look at. And I think that there's areas of opportunity for both of those. And everybody can opt into some form of automation to really boost their performance. Okay, so we've talked about the types of automation. Let's go into automation examples now. And in this example, I'm going to give you two examples of one or a few things that you can just take home with you and implement on your accounts today. And the first one of those is going to be rules in AdWords. So when I think about rules in AdWords, I think that they are a great solution to do a number of different things. And they're a very good entry point to automation within your PPC accounts. So for those of you that aren't familiar with rules, they're located in your tools and settings section in AdWords, which is signified here by that blue arrow. And then they're under the bulk action sections underneath that tools and settings. And you'll see that highlighted here with that red arrow and box. But ultimately, whenever you click into that and you say, hey, I want to add a rule, you have a few different options that you can choose from on what you want to add. For this example, we're going to pay attention to audience modifiers. And I'm going to show you how you can just set something to automatically bid your audiences each day for you based on a performance goal. So to showcase what that UI looks like and how simple this is to implement, up at the top, you have a section that's called action. And the action that I want to take here is going to be change my bid adjustment. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to increase my bid for an audience by 20%. But in the bottom few sections, I get to specify where I want that to happen and when I want that to happen. So where do I want this to be applied to? Well, these are audiences. Maybe I have a specific remarketing campaign that I want to flow more budget to if it's doing well. So I choose my remarketing campaigns in this instance. And then I get to set conditions. So for me, a lot of my programs are geared towards ROAS or ROI. So right here, I can set, hey, any audience that's in this campaign that has a ROAS over $4, meaning for every dollar I spend, I'm getting $4 back, I'm willing to pay 20% more if they're in this audience because it just seems like they're converting more. I can specify that right here. And then lastly, in that frequency section, you get to say, how often do you want this to happen? For me, I run a few high volume accounts, so I want this to happen daily. I want to make sure that I'm capturing trends as quickly as possible whenever they come in. So I want this to run daily at 8:30. And then I get to choose what look back do I want to have in terms of data. So for the optimization that's going to be had here, do I want to just use yesterday's data to make this decision? Or do I want to use a longer look back such as 7 days, which I have here? Some people's accounts may take even longer, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just means your business might be a little bit different. So for instance, if you're in a B2B type of setting, maybe you want to do 30 days or 90 days because that might be how long it could take a lead to come in and somebody to take that desired action. Overall, these are customizable for you, and you get to dictate how you want these to be adjusted. So kind of going back to how does this flow into the buckets of automation that we have? Well, number one, it's going to increase efficiency. I'm going to boost bids where it's doing well. I'm going to give it an extra 20% adjustment. If I set an inverse rule of this to counterbalance this or counterweight it, maybe I do a negative 20% on audiences that aren't doing well. So I'm really optimizing every single layer here. So increase efficiency through that way. And then two, it's going to save me time. I don't have to do this manually anymore. I don't have to go into AdWords, set filters, and adjust things. This just happens for me every single day at 8:30. So rules, a great entryway to get into some types of automation on your accounts. The next one is going to be a little bit more advanced. But going back to that negative keyword mining example, I wanted to show you how you could automate something like that. So let's go into this. So scripts and AdWords. Scripts and AdWords are actually in the same exact location as rules. So if you actually just go one level down from rules, highlighted in that red arrow and box, that's where scripts live. And whenever you get into that interface and you click to add a new script, it looks like whatever what you're seeing right there on the right-hand side. So you see it. It might be intimidating because there's a lot of code. And yes, you do need to learn JavaScript or know some root understanding of JavaScript for this. But Google, being Google, is here to help. And if you actually visit the Google developers website, they actually have some templatized scripts for you to use so that you only have to edit a few pieces of that JavaScript. And there should be some documentation on how you can do that. But overall, keyword mining is something that you can automate, and not just automate in the form of getting an email sent to you or a file pushed to you with all the keywords that you need to negative, and actually have it automatically apply to your campaigns. So let me show you how this rule, for example, helped me increase efficiency and save some time in the month of June. So on one of my accounts in the month of June, I did have this script applied, and I added over 380 keywords. And these keywords had 0 conversions, but they were spending money. And they were spending on average $56 before they were negatived out. So whenever you think about that, $50 for something that isn't converting can be quite a bit. And when you look at this in a whole month view, what I did was actually I cut over $12,000 of wasted spend on my accounts just by simply having this rule applied. And that's great. $12,000 to be able to go back to the client with and say, hey, I saved you this much money a month. But when you annualize it, I didn't just save you $12,000 in the month of June. I actually saved you $250,000 throughout the entire year. So you can see right here, this can be very impactful for you. It allows you to save money and push that investment into other places that are performing on your account and driving the business forward, and all while saving time. All right. So the last section that I'm going to get into is, well, automated bidding, but how does automated bidding help me specifically? And I want to give you this example because it does help me, and it's helped me grow my accounts. And I think that it's something that everybody should be opted into. So let's hop into the example right here. So automated bidding, it might seem a little scary up front. You're giving away control of your account to somebody else or a piece of tech. But if you think about it, what if you have a very large account, or if you have a bunch of accounts and there's so many different things that need to be optimized? For me, on example, one of my accounts might have over 2,700 keywords. And I also run shopping campaigns because I work in retail marketing. So I have over 6,800 products that need to be optimized. And these need to be optimized on a daily basis so that I'm up to best practice. But then you take it a step further. There's other things that we can bid on, such as devices, which one of those is performing well. Desktop, typically a higher CVR. Mobile still has the bulk of traffic though. How do we make sure that we're balancing where we're spending our money on and on which device? And then lastly, just like with the example we went into with rules, audiences. And if you have these applied at the campaign level, that can just really expand very fast depending on the number of campaigns you have. If you go even more granular to the ad group level, for instance, it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. But what this equates to is nearly 50,000 bid adjustments. And these are 50,000 bid adjustments that need to be made every single day if I want to be at best practice. You're probably thinking that might not sound humanly possible at the moment. And to be honest, it's almost not. It would be a pretty strenuous thing to make sure that you're optimizing every single aspect of this campaign, of your campaigns, and all these different things, and making sure that you're capturing trends through audiences and devices. Or maybe you're selling outerwear and it's starting to go out of season. Well, how do you capture that trend if you're not bidding appropriately and bringing those things down? And overall, what automated bidding does is it's going to do this for you. And it's going to do this for you on a daily basis. If you're opted into some of Google's automated bidding solutions, such as TROAS or TCPA, you're actually doing this at the auction level. They have way more insights than we can get just by making adjustments in the engine by ourselves. So ultimately, what does this equate to, and what does this mean, and how can you show the benefits of automated bidding and why you should be involved in it? So here's another example from one of my accounts. In Q1 of 2018, another agency was running it, and they weren't opted into automated bidding. You can see that they made a total of 13,000 bid changes over the course of a quarter. That equates to 143 a day. So we were just talking about how you need to make, possibly 50,000 a day, depending on the size of your account. Well, this one, they were only making 143. In Q1 of 2019, whenever we took over, we opted into some automated bidding solutions, and we wanted to make sure we were optimizing everything just as soon as it comes in and every single day, sometimes multiple times a day if we needed to. You can see that there was a big spike, an 18x increase year over year for Q1 in the total number of bid changes that were made. So going from 13,000 to 243,000 and under 200 bid changes a day to over 2,600 bid changes a day. So you can see that in the numbers of just pure changes, there's a lot of growth whenever you opt into some automated bidding. But how does this relate to us, and how can this mean more revenue for whether it's your clients or your agency if you work off of fees, depending on how much media spend somebody has? Well, this is what the results look like put into cost and revenue and average CPC from that recent example that I showed you. So in Q1, we increased costs by 44%, while increasing revenue by even more at 55%, all while becoming more efficient and decreasing our average CPC by 13%. So you can see here, this is a great solution for you to go ahead and get more spend behind your campaigns, drive more revenue behind your campaigns, and become more efficient while you do it. Okay, so we talked about a few different things, talked about a lot, but I'm just going to give you a recap here. So what are the two buckets of automation? We talked about those, and it's saving time and increasing efficiency, and it's great if you can do them both together. We also went through a few different examples. So rules in AdWords and scripts in AdWords, they're great ways to get started with automation right off the bat. And then lastly, we closed with automated bidding and why you need to be opted into it, because it can lead to not just more revenue for your clients, but it can also lead to more revenue for your agency whenever you start increasing the spend, because you're just becoming that much more efficient. All right. Thank you all very much. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. I'll go ahead and open it up for QA now, and I'll stop sharing.